Hey, Primal Punch here. Just wanted to go into a little bit of detail on some of the movements in the Zombie Fighter Jango workouts, okay? Started off as just a stick workout, but I've translated over pretty well into bare hands. You guys have seen the videos where I've translated over. One of them is punching power from the Zombie Fighter Jango stick workout. But I'm going to go into a little more detail on the movements because this is one of those situations where I've assumed that the movement's going to speak for itself, but it doesn't always for people. So we'll start with the swing, okay? We're going to do this with weights. You can do this barehanded. And there's also a guy, I'm not going to name him because it's not my place to, but he told me, he emailed me and told me he's been doing the Zombie Fighter Jango for 2 weeks now, and he's lost 7 pounds. He's coming off of a knee injury, and that's a big deal. The guy's doing it, and he said it fits in well with his own martial arts regimen. So I'd like you to consider. So here we've got the swing, okay? Now, when I'm doing the swing, I go up on the toe. If I'm swinging to the left, then my right toe digs in and turns a little bit, just like on a power punch, that grinding out a cigarette kind of thing. I think that's the euphemism most commonly used. So when I turn this way, my opposite foot turns, okay? It's not planted, and my weight, the majority of my weight, say 80%, is on the balls of my feet, okay? So that my feet can turn and my knees aren't stuck in a static mode where they're taking an unnecessary amount of strain, okay? So it's a whole body movement when you do this swing, alright? You're learning to get your body into every movement. Every bit of your weight, all your force and your strength can go into one movement. And we're learning to be loose except where we want to be hard, okay? So for a split second at the top of each side, let your muscles tense where you stop it, alright? It's something where it's not even going to be where you're really stopping. But you've got that smooth movement, let it tense at the top of that arc. You're stopping it. And your target is just slightly behind you, so you're forced to engage your abdominal muscles, your back, your obliques, everything. And it just builds up an amazing amount of heat, and these muscles just burn that excess weight right off and gets that blood flow going. You'll feel better. You really will. So on the swing, alright, explanation of move. Right there, I'm turned to my right. My left toes are touching. My heel is raised and pointed away from me almost. Pointed to the other side there. Same with this foot. Alright? There you go. We're transferring weight side to side. All my weight goes with those. Other leg goes up. But I'm keeping my balance. I'm staying within my balance zone. I'm staying centered with my balance. Alright? Next one. Side spear. You remember these, right? Do it with the stick. It's out like this. You see where I'm turned, and then it's tucked in when I'm facing you now. It's tucked in and then out. Now, if this movement gives you like your joints any unnatural stress, if you feel like it's odd or off, I'd encourage you to use A, less weight, or make a slight turn like this, okay? Now it'll feel better for you. Still the same movement. Now I'm turning and I'm transferring my weight, but I'm staying centered in between, and my toe is doing the same thing. When I go this way with a strike, that toe is touching, heel raised, heel is pointing that way. Alright? It's a whole body move, but we're staying centered. Keeping our weight in between our legs so we're never off balance no matter what the strike. Okay? That's your side spear. Alright? And that's a killer one. You know where that translates over? That's those elbows, because we're turning our hips. Everything is going into these moves. We're getting muscles like a snake or something, alright? It's not those fancy things that you get out of a can. It's hard, solid muscle. So, you got your elbows and the hook, see? So, you're building those muscles and you're putting these movements into muscle memory when you're doing this. So your whole body just automatically goes into it without even thinking. Instinct, muscle memory. This is how you keep from losing technique when you got to scrap, by doing it hundreds, thousands of times. Alright, enough with the yakking, right? So next we got the side swipe. Okay? Now this one, your heel isn't going to raise as much. Alright? This one is more of an arm strike. So your heel's going to raise slightly, so that when I'm going this way, my off foot, my other foot, is just going to lift a little bit, and the toe doesn't really turn, because this is torso and arm, torso, arm, but you're still engaging your waist, okay? And since you're stretching that strike out like that, you don't want to lift up too much and go out, because you're extended. So you're keeping your body centered, so you've still got balance, even though you're able to put an amazing amount of force into these. And again, if you find that your joints are uncomfortable, your elbows are uncomfortable, when the weight's like this, simply turn it a little bit, and then it'll be a more natural position, and work your way up to this with the heavier weight, okay? And work up to what you can do. Alright? Don't start too heavy. Don't want you to get discouraged. So, side swipe. Huh? Side swipe. This one's a killer. Really killer. You're kind of throwing that out, and this will really help you getting that snap in, because you're flinging this weight out and then pulling it back in. Okay? So there we go. Next, after the side swipe, real simple this one's easy. Everybody, you guys know how to throw a punch and turn it over. Alright? And if it's uncomfortable turning it all the way over, work your way up to it. Alright? Just go at a slight diagonal. So this one, you're turning into it. Alright? Engage those core muscles. Engage all this in here. Alright? Keep a constant balance of tension between these muscles, okay? Not so that it binds you up, but enough so that your spine is never taking that strain. It's all muscles. Alright? So, here. That's your stick punch, okay? That's the equivalent of the stick punch. And then, of course, I would like to encourage you to hold whatever weights you might be using, so that the weight is out at the end. And try this when you throw them. Snap it out at the end. Alright? You see that? Snap it out and bring it back. It's really great. Alright? And then stick punches overhead. Same difference. You're turning it like this when you get to the top, and snap that weight up if you can at the top, okay? If you feel comfortable and you're not using the stick. I really recommend the stick, but these are pretty killer too. I've been doing the weights now, so I'm pretty into it. And here, this one will really help you with that Systema style mantis foo punch. Alright, mantis shrimp foo. This. Hold the weights, whatever you're using. I mean, you can use a hammer, whatever you've got, alright? And whip it out. This one, I'd encourage you to turn into it. You see? Whip it. Whip it. Whip that weight out there. And when you throw your punches like that, those close-in punches, you'll really be surprised at how they sink in. Alright? So snap those suckers out. And that's just turning your hip, waist, shoulders, hip, waist, and shoulders. Alright? Engaging everything every time. And then overhead, snap them again. And I really want to encourage you, when you go overhead, reach. Feel this connective tissue in here, okay? Up, 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 up. And snap that at the top, alright? Just like you're knocking apples off a tree. Paka, paka. Alright, you like the sound effects? Now this one, alright, this is one of those additions, okay? It's the pendulum. Now, when you're doing it with the weights, you can really get a different kind of exercise going. It's really slick. And you can do this barehanded too. Make sure I got enough room. I don't commit mayhem on my own belongings. So here, alright, we're kind of up here. Now, drop down so that you're into a kind of a shallow squat. Lean forward slightly. See, that's the side view there. Now, it's this. Alright? You're putting that effort into these moves, okay? And you're drawing it backwards. Alright? You see that? This is part of the pendulum. Then, here's the next one. You switch it up, and it's like this. Okay? Instead of that. So here. Now this one is the true pendulum, alright? You guys remember this. But you're putting effort into both movements. Alright? Put a little bit of snap into it. You won't regret it. And you feel up to it, snap those weights out. So that's two different exercises on the pendulum. You've got this and then this, where you're actually going straight towards your back and building that beef up. Really building that beef, man. And I like going against the opposite chest, the opposite pectoral. That's a good one. It's a good one. Blacksmith with a squat, okay? This one is great. It's that shallow squat, okay? When you come up, I encourage you to bring it up a little bit extra, but don't fling it back. Keep your muscles so they take the strain, you know? You come back like a hammer and then down. So you see how the torso gets involved? Keeping that back safe, keeping your spine safe. There's a little bit of a twist toward the arm you're using. So you're turned a little bit, and then you're turned a little bit toward the offside. Then we've got the finisher. And again, on the end of all these, snap that weight out there. You won't regret it. So finishers, it's coming down. You're coiling that spring up. And when I do this, I'm bringing this up like it's a punch. And I am turning so that my toe is touching, but my heel is facing, if that's 12 o'clock, then it's going to be facing 7, about 7 o'clock. Alright? If 12 o'clock is directly ahead of you. So, on the finisher, it's down and then up, and feel this tissue, okay? You want to stretch this. You want to build that up, because that's important. That's keeping your ribs strong. Alright? That'll protect you when you take a hit. You see? It's a good one. Alright. Now we've got the samurai. This one's really good, okay? This one is going to be body punches and a chin shot across, okay? It's going to come up like this. You see? Snap it up. And again, now my heel is facing maybe 8 o'clock this time. Toe is up, because this one you're coming over. Hips turn, waist turn, shoulder turns, and down. It's sort of like a samurai slash. And go ahead and snap that down when you go, and snap it back up. You see that movement? It's really good. This is going to strengthen your grip and give you a harder punch. Look at those components to the power punch. That's really good too. Okay, so we've explained those. Now, the ladder punch, that's self-explanatory. You guys know how to do that. If it gives your shoulders any distress, then only go as high as you're comfortable. You know? If only going this high is, work your way up. Work your way to it, okay? And this is a good way to build up your shoulders so you can do these, is just overhead skull crusher types. Remember these? And just let your arms be comfortable. On this one, the form isn't so important as just moving those weights quickly as you're comfortable or able. Alright? Because we're teaching our muscles to move fast for long periods of time. And using the resistance, it builds a lean kind of muscle that is just as hard as any of my walking sticks. You know? It's really, it's building up. I'm really impressed. I only started doing this exercise routine. I put together a bunch of exercises that I'd come up with that I would just do randomly, interspersed with resistance training and heavy bag. I put them together into this workout so that it would be cohesive for people to try, and I've been doing it along with you. And I'll tell you, I don't think that I've ever been stronger, and got pretty good energy level, like that. And my muscles have just gotten so hard that it's different. It's a different kind of muscle. It reminds me of the muscle on my dogs, you know, where it's just useful. It goes and goes and goes. So the side benefit of it is excess weight is burned off quickly at a very swift but healthy rate. So I'd encourage you guys to rock this. And like that, I'm trying to think if oh, you know what, I would have missed the darn exercise. You believe that? Because I just get to yakking. Just start yakking. That's alright. Check it out. We've got what I call crushers, okay? And then if you do a flurry of those, it's a kayak attack. So with a stick, you're holding it like this, and it's pushed out and out. And then it's almost like you're dipping in an oar. You see? And here's kind of a hula hoop motion, alright? When you're doing this with your waist and your hips and your feet. And again, your weight is mostly on your toes. You know, let your heels touch. Let them rest there. But your toes are holding most of the weight. Your balls of your feet. You see this movement? And keep those arms up. And if this is uncomfortable, turn them at a slight angle there. Just turn your wrists. Alright? Can you see my waist? You kind of just turn it. Turn it. It's sort of a hula motion, but this will really get you where you're feeling that, and it's smooth. It works in. So, thank you guys, and if you have questions, please ask. The only, you know, it's not stupid to ask a question. If you don't understand something, or if I am unclear, you let me know. Alright, so this is Primal Punch saying, punch hard, be who you are, because that's the strongest you can be, is when you're being yourself. Alright? Thank you for coming. Punch hard.